It's a great day when you're hanging around. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. Good times are coming our way. Whenever, wherever, whatever today.
Today is going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host. Welcome to the Lone Doctrine, the food for thought exploration station, and your place in making today better than yesterday. Welcome. And if you're just tuning in, welcome to our topic of the month, turning I can't into I can. Easier said than done. And this topic, although it may be somewhat cliche, runs deep. It's one of the top self-deprecating thoughts that many of us hold on to through many aspects of our life. Some hold on to for their whole life. Yes, you could dissect this each and every way. You could even argue, but I know those of you who love a good debate and can say, well, I want to be 6 feet tall, but I'm never growing over 5 feet. How do I turn that can't into a can? There are those who I have worked with that no matter how much light or encouragement comes their way, they'd always find a way to make it negative. If you feel you've been in that position, or you know someone who has or is, keep listening and realize that those feelings and that reaction runs much deeper than the topic at hand. They have yet to understand themselves fully and find what I like to call their root in order to see and understand a topic such as I can't into I can. It's for great benefit for us all. Life is full of colors, a wide spectrum. And the most fascinating thing about our species is that each and every one of us are unique. That statement is different for each and every one of us, and that's great. So, even if you are wishing you were 6 feet tall and you are only 5 feet, and you haven't grown an inch past 5 feet in years, when you're open to all the possibilities in life, you find a way to really look into the why. Why do you want to be 6 feet tall? Maybe you'd like to reach things easier? Well, when our mind is on the right track, then we problem solve. How about a stool, a ladder? Maybe you want to be 6 feet tall because you want to be on a basketball team. Well, you should see and look up how many amazing basketball players are under 6 feet tall. The point I'm trying to make is that, yes, the pessimist in us wants to debunk all the cliche sayings, and I'm sure our minds can find plenty of ways to do so. But the point is, what's the point? Make life work for you, not against you. And realize the lack mindset may be the very reason why life isn't where you'd like it to be, or why things seem too hard, or why your mind tends to say more often than not, I can't. It's time to get your mind on the right track and give it the good food for thought. We are bombarded with negativity every day. It's sadly all around us. Whether it's in the media, the news, social media, traffic, the run-in with the grumpy driver, the pace and always having to be in a hurry. Everyone's life is different. But we all have some sort of scenario that surrounds our daily lives that may not be benefiting to our best self. So, how do we combat those things? How do we keep our mind on the right track so we aren't put in a state where I can'ts come too often? Today, I'd like to explore how to power up your self-talk and reclaim your life by expandbeyondyourself.com. Self-talk is the most important of them all. But what is self-talk? We tell ourselves something is too hard or easy, or that we are success or failures. That is self-talk. You are familiar with this voice in your head. This is a universal human experience. Unfortunately, it rarely says good things, especially about you. It hinders your progress like nothing else because it's preventative in its nature. You don't change because in 99% of cases, your self-talk convinces you to give up even before you start. You read a self-help book that recommends doing some exercise. You think, later, it's stupid. That surely won't work for me. I'm too stupid for that. It's such a hassle. and you skip the exercise. That's why, despite the countless self-help volume gurus, readers, success is not very common. The authors of self-help books kind of know this problem, but they choose to ignore it. What can they do about it anyway? They can sneak into your mind and say something else. They just hope the seed of their message will fall onto a receptive soul. Self-help books bombard you with great advice. Imagine that. Tell yourself, ask yourself. The advice is completely useless because it tries to break into your habitual self-talk. You don't really know how self-insults appear in your mind. You don't know where the damaging questions are coming from. Why am I such a failure? Why does it always happen to me? Where does that come from? You cannot stop yourself in the middle of your self-tirade and say something else instead. Why? Because self-talk is one of your most ingrained habits. I'll picture its power by comparing it with walking. You think, you walk. If you are a reasonably healthy human being, you don't give even an ounce of conscious attention to your steps. You just walk. Of course, you can break down the whole process into smaller parts. When you walk, you raise your leg a bit, bend your knee so your foot won't touch the surface, lean forward just a tiny bit, move your arm, lift your right arm, both synchronized so that you keep your balance. Move the leg forward, put the foot on the ground, move your center of your weight, and support your weight on the lead foot. Changing how you walk is possible, but extremely hard. You will fall back into your old walking habits as soon as your attention gets away from your conscious control over your movements. You can steer your self-talk in the same fashion in which you can control your steps. In theory, it's pretty simple. In practice, the power of habit will always win and you fall back to old patterns. Those good tips from self-help books are like advice to raise your foot a bit higher, bend your knee a bit harder, and take bigger steps. They may work in isolation and when you put your whole attention into them. They try to affect your thinking patterns, which are already firmly established. In fact, your thinking patterns are fossilized. Remember, we are exploring. We explore on this channel many different perspectives. So keep an open mind because you never know when you're going to find your seed of greatness. So how do we fight habits with habits? It's easier to start a new habit than to modify an existing one. And removing an old habit is downright impossible. They are hard-coded into your brain. Besides, removing your self-talk altogether is not possible. It's one of the things that makes us human. You also cannot replace self-talk with some new habit. Improving of your self-talk, as hard as it is the only option. Here's some ideas on how to shift your self-talk. Improve your mood. Unwanted self-talk beats you up, or rather, it beats you so it stays there ready to emerge every time you want to do something outside the status quo. This is why most of the time you might feel down. No wonder you say things like, you're worthless. There's a little sense in trying to change your life. If you feel beaten, you need some habits that will bring sunshine into your internal world. A way to do that is to get to know yourself. Some people call this self-awareness. The grip of your self-talk over your life is so strong mostly because you don't even notice it. It's like those elephants which were chained at a young age. They learned that the chain constraints their movements and they stopped trying to free themselves. Later on, the powerful animals don't even try to break free from a thin chain. A lot of your self-talk comes from your childhood and adolescent years. You were weak, vulnerable, and not used to your rational mind to solve life problems. Later, as an adult, you don't even notice that your childish self-talk keeps you in captivity. Hence, you need a few habits to boost your self-awareness. You need to notice your self-talk to be able to do something with it. You need to practice simple habits, easy to do, day in and day out, which will bring your attention to what's actually going through your mind. Only then can you stop and challenge your thoughts. You have to power up your self-talk. Once you do something to elevate your mood and gain some more self-awareness, you can actually do something with your self-talk. One of the most prevailing thoughts at the beginning of a transformation is, it's possible. I can. It might be annoying at first, but if you really try to incorporate the words I can, it's possible, into your vocabulary and repeat it like it's a catchy tune, then you start to change your default. There are also other methods that work on a more subconscious level, like gratitude journaling. And once you start doing something about your negative self-talk, once it's improving, your whole life improves. By going through these motions, by changing your habits or creating new ones, you will eventually continue to take action that will change the platform of your default into your I can'ts, into I cans. There's an important element in many of the explorations we have embarked upon here at the Lone Doctrine. If out of everything, take action is possibly the most important aspect of them all. I say this a lot, but I believe it's worth repeating. We can listen, we can read, we can watch all the betterment in the world, but if we don't take action in our own lives, how do we expect to have positive change? So the question for this week is, what action will you take? How will you add new habits? How will you take action? How will you reclaim your life? How will you change your self-talk, improve your mood, and fight the habits with new positive habits? Even if it's one small step towards turning your can't into I can, it's worth it. If you found value in the Lone Doctrine, we would be so grateful for your support. We've partnered up with Patreon, which is a place where you can help us stay on air and keep our doors open in supporting our listeners in making today better than yesterday. Thank you so much for your consideration, your support, and a special thank you to our current Patreons who make the Lone Doctrine possible. We hope to see you at patreon.com/Lone Doctrine. patreon.com/Lone Doctrine. Thank you so much for your consideration and support. I love being here with you. It's because of our supporters we're able to stay on air, and we are grateful beyond grateful. Together, we are better. Until next time, keep fighting the good fight.
It's a